Hey yo, what's up, everybody? It's Sunday. It's not quite 10 o'clock. It's 8:19, so we're running it a little early today. Of course, it is Crushcast. I am AphroditesCrush here. Our soundboard man is actually on location right now, so no intro music today. So, no
Yeah.
intro music today.
Yeah, I thought you were like a soundboard man too. You play all the sound effects on your phone.
I'm a mobile soundboard man, dude. I'm mobile like that.
Yeah.
So, what's been going on, bruh?
Not much. What's been going on with you?
Not a whole lot. I'll say that. It's working.
Well,
I'm a week out of vacation, so I'm like trying to push through this last week. Now I'm ready for vacation, like you would not believe.
oh well. Yeah, Frank said he's going to bed. Frankie.
Poor little Frankie going to bed.
But yeah, it hasn't been that long. It's only been like a few days since he did it on. We did the show on Wednesday, pretty much. So
Yeah, that's true. It's all good though. It's all
not
good.
a whole lot's changed. I mean, the world has an end. I guess that could happen in a day.
Right. So, moving on. I got a couple. Let's see, one, two, three, four. Well, five really specific items to go over today. So this since it's only been a couple days since our last show, today's show isn't going to be that long. Most likely, maybe half hour, maybe run till about 9 o'clock, maybe a little bit more than a half hour. So we're pretty much going to breeze through a couple different things. The first of which is going to be the IGN purchase of the Humble Bundle. So, have you ever heard of Humble Bundle before?
Well, yeah, I have. Yeah, I don't really. I don't have it or anything like that. I don't play too many Steam games, but it looks pretty interesting.
Well, the thing right now is that's going on is that since IGN purchased Humble Bundle, a lot of people think it's a conflict of interest. Basically, Humble Bundle got into publishing earlier this year instead of just sponsoring specific charities. So IGN purchasing for an undisclosed sum seems a little wonky, a little fishy. Not gonna lie. How do you feel about this situation where you have a review style content website actually purchasing a publishing company slash online retailer?
Um, I don't really know. I'm like I don't know how well that would work out, if that would be good or not.
Well, they're saying that it's not supposed to affect either or. Which, if it holds true and they keep the word on that, that's a fantastic thing. Just for the simple fact of, you don't want somebody who might have known someone on the team because now they work together to be influenced by the relationship with that person as it pertains to the score. That's really the main thing some people are a little weird about. Jim Sterling put out a video which was weird in itself, saying that the partnership is now really very weird for those reasons specifically.
Mm.
I think if they can just keep it like partitioned off, I think you're okay. But
Right.
something seems weird to me about the partnership. Like how did this? How did point A contact point B, and now we have an acquisition? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So such is the situation right now with them. They I think it's IGN CEO put out a statement saying that there would be no change, no operational change between IGN and Humble Bundle. So
Mm.
I foresee there being less really good deals like they did a PlayStation deal not too long ago for charity, but I guess we'll just have to see.
Yeah, it seems like you get less and less really good deals when a company gets bigger, you know?
Yeah. All right, I got a couple
I mean,
articles here for you.
do you know how much the acquisition was?
Undisclosed amount.
Uh,
So nobody really knows at the moment. So that's one thing that it's not particularly weird, but can be considered weird, I guess would be the statement I'd say.
yeah,
So
little bit.
all right. Ooh, just a little bit. So this right here, which I'm going to put into the information for the show. I got most of my stuff from Polygon today. So yay, Polygon.
Okay. What isn't that like a forum or something?
Huh?
Polygon? Isn't that like the website Polygon?
Well, Polygon also has just straight content on the website too. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this right here is Article 4. Oculus Rift gets permanent price drop. $399 is the new standard price. Oculus's Hugo Barra announced that the Oculus Rift Touch bundle will now be priced at $399 moving forward. This is the same price as the previous limited time sale, but now it acts as the standard price.
Mm.
So now they are also announcing a standalone VR headset called the Oculus Go, which will be priced at $199 and is coming in 2018. So this, to me, speaks of desperation.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised they're even doing a VR article because I know how much you hate VR.
This is me showing how VR is already starting to fall apart. Because the Oculus Rift, aside from the PlayStation VR, is one of the primary examples for VR that is out there. And it just shows, again, why I know for a fact that VR is already starting to taper off and already starting to piss people off as far as the price that it came at, and also the fact that there's just not enough out there to justify its existence.
Yeah. What's more of a gimmick, you think, 3D or VR?
VR. I honestly think it's VR. Coming from someone who tried VR, 20 years ago, literally, to someone who's now seeing VR come back is essentially the same thing as when I tried it 20 years ago. There's literally no difference in me doing. I took a trip to Canada back in 97. I think it was 97, 98. Went to CN Tower, saw the sights. And the base of the CN Tower was this virtual gaming area. I can't remember what it's called. But $10, I had 10 minutes of playing Duke Nukem 3D in VR. Had the headset, had the gun, basically in this little cubicle style thing. That way, it wouldn't fall on my face. But basically doing the exact same thing people are doing right now, but they're paying $200, $300, $400, $500 for these stupid little units that are nothing more besides an accessory to a system they already have.
Right.
So, and yeah, I do dislike VR specifically because of how gimmicky it is.
Well, I mean, do you think it's like, because I kind of think it's like a thing where it's could be a good idea on paper in theory, but it's like been executed really badly.
Well, like that's the thing I'm thinking though. It's like if it's supposed to be okay on paper is essentially what's in practice, though, don't you think?
Maybe, I don't know. We have to have some kind of transition though. What do you think are going to be the in between steps between what we have, like game consoles now, and then like the Matrix? I mean, pretty much for your in the Matrix. I mean, we have to have some kind of more immersive type of thing besides just what's on a TV screen, I guess.
Not required. It's not required. I've heard that said before. Well, we need to have this transition. We need to have point A to point B. And I'm like, there is no definable market between what we have now and what the companies want to sell us. And it's actually something that really got me thinking. And I was watching a Jim Sterling show about the cost of there's a Jimquisition on the cost of video games. And they're always touting how much they have to spend on increasing pixel count and basically redoing new engines for every new game that comes out and so on and so forth. This falls into that, and the fact of who really asked for this. Where was the market demand for this type of product to exist as a whole anyway? And if we're being honest with ourselves, the amount that these products are not selling.
Hello?
But it's being shoved out. Yeah. So I just think it's something that a couple of guys thought was a really cool idea, and and now it's blown up, but it's already dead in the water.
Oh, what do you? Well, I mean, you're like seem like you're pretty critical on video games. Like, what would you like to see?
I want to see more engaging stories. I want to see better made games. I want to see actual complete games that don't have to be patched 37 times. I want to see games that are complete and not have to go through massive changes or have to pay for pieces of the game that are already on the disc. So
is that true? Is that what they do, where you have to pay for things that are like the files are already on the disc?
Yeah, on disc DLC is the thing.
What games have that happened from? Do you have any sources for that?
I can certainly look it up here. Let's see, on disc. Excuse me. Here we go. Disklockedcontent.wikia.com. List of games with on-disc DLC. There we go. Go ahead. This is from a fandom website. This is a compiled list, and I will go ahead and drop it in chat.
I can't. There is no chat.
You don't have that ability?
It's a tablet.
So,
can you screen share?
So, yeah, I gotcha. There we go. So, list of games with on-disc DLC. Animal Crossing N64. Ace Combat 6. This goes back, of course, to the N64. Ace Combat 6 for 360 PS3. Beautiful Katamari for 360. Bioshock 2 for 360 PS3 PC. The Crew, Xbox One, 360 PS4 PC. Bulletstorm, 360 PS3 PC. Dragon's Dogma, 360 PS3. Dynasty Warriors Gundam 2 for 360 and PS3. Freedom Force PC. Ghost Recon Future Soldier for 360 and PC. King of Fighters 13 for 360 PS3. Metroid Prime for I think it's a GameCube. Persona 5 PS3, PS4. Resident Evil both 5 and 6 for 360 and PS3. Samba, like the list goes on and on, all the way down to more recent games. It is not a extremely large thing per se. However, it does exist.
Right.
So this isn't one of those situations where, oh, maybe one or two people do it. No, multiple companies have tried this over the years and have gotten roasted for doing it.
Well, I mean, I guess what's the difference? So if it's on a disc or if it's on their servers, I mean, if it doesn't fit in with their storyline and they wanted to use it for something extra, like what's the big deal? I mean, they seem to believe that you're getting your money's worth out of what they have already on there for you.
If I'm paying $60 for a game, I expect all the content that you created for that game to be on the disc. Not only that, but I also expect to be given a good amount of value. And one of the worst cases in value not being presented, by the way, is Star Wars Battlefront. Not to mention Star Wars Battlefront 2 having this trash pay-to-play after you've paid $60 for the game beta that just got released and is already being roasted beyond belief online as well. That takes it to a whole new level.
Actually, they said, I think that I did see some articles about how video games should actually be costing more because of how many slices of the pie that the developers have to give to like publishers and all these other companies. It's like they really don't. They kind of are doing you a favor because they don't make as much money as they probably should be making.
Well, again, when you're talking about incomplete games, the fact is that they have been releasing more and more incomplete games the past 10 years. They have also been releasing more and more titles with brand new engines for every single title that is ridiculous because was it Unity? There's a couple more, Frostbite, but these are engines that companies are developing their own proprietary engines for every single game that comes out or a block of games that come out and trying to make everything look fantastic instead of focusing where it should be, which is on the gameplay. It's now turning into this, our game looks the best, so you must pay $60 for it type of deal. And these are companies that are intentionally shoveling money into developing, how many new engines for their units and going with the most crisp developmental look to a game, which, by the way, doesn't look that way when it comes out. So they dish out so much cash on an engine that barely works, and then they're like, well, we should be charging you more, but we're nice and we're going to keep the cost at $60. Well, guess what? Don't screw around with the game. Actually make a good game, and quite possibly people will buy it in droves because they enjoy playing your game and actually have your game have replayability instead of, oh, I finished this in 6 hours, I'm done now, and I don't want to pay any DLC costs.
Well, you realize how you must sound when you're just like one person saying that video games suck. All video games suck.
It's not the fact that all games suck. It's the fact that games that don't meet particular criteria, and the games that I rail on are the ones that get roasted. The games that I rail on, like Battlefront, I remember when I did the Battlefront release for Walmart, literally on the disc was literally one game mode. Everything else was online. There was no one player mode as far as any type of a story mode goes, and it pretty much, like, after the big rush of people went out and got it, they figured out that everything else was locked behind a paywall and you got screwed. You paid $60 for a multiplayer game that had almost no story to it. But you can
Well, it's
play as Darth Vader, and that's what they're. Okay, we'll make it so you can play it, but and like we're like, well, we need content. They're like, well, you can spend $50 for the season pass for that content that should have been included on the disc to begin with.
well, what's
This
wrong with the
isn't
multiplayer games though? I mean, everybody loves the Call of Duty and just playing each other, killing each other all the time.
games like Call of Duty and Battlefield have one-player campaign modes. Just because they make the bulk of their money on multiplayer doesn't mean anything.
I thought there
It
was
means
a
that,
couple of games that didn't even have a single player. You had to be online.
but the thing is that a lot of those games made that clear out of the gate. Just to let you know, this is an online multiplayer game first. And the reason why those games were successful is because the people who bought those games understood that they were buying an online multiplayer game. It was in clear-cut words on the front cover, online multiplayer only. Some companies get it, and a lot of them don't. It's not that hard to figure out.
Yeah, but you do sound kind of like a snob when you're like, all the video game developers don't know how to make a good game. I mean, you're not even a video game developer, so like, what is your word worth then?
My word is worth as a consumer and someone who has worked in the retail space selling to people these games for the better part of a decade, and giving people like, how can someone who dislikes being fed garbage outwardly feed that same garbage to everybody else? That's just falling in line when you're saying, well, you're just someone who plays games, you're not a developer. Well, I'm very much a critique based person. My YouTube channel is very much critique based. A lot of what I do is critique based. If a game is fantastic, I'll be the first one to say it. If a game is great as far as my experience playing it, I will be the first one to say it.
Yeah, but it's your opinion though.
But opinion that a lot of people have, and it's opinion that a lot of people are bringing up, and companies are now just getting to experience that pushback from consumers.
I mean, if you don't like the game, you don't have to play it.
I don't have to play it, but I also don't have to feed that garbage of, oh, well, it's just online multiplayer out to the masses, and then have the people, oh, well, I'll just go ahead and get it. I'll have a different experience. Well, if I sat here and, like, say, if I was working, at Walmart and I hate 3D, I think it's a gimmick. Someone comes in and says, well, I'm not sure about getting a 3D TV. What do you think? Well, here's what you're going to need. You're going to need to realize that not everything comes in 3D. The content is very limited. You're going to need to realize that you need to buy a 3D TV, a 3D Blu-ray player. Yeah, you're going to have to basically retool your entire living room to play 3D, and then you're maybe going to get 10, maybe 15% of your DVD and Blu-ray content that comes in 3D. That's trash. That's someone dishing out more money than they have to. And the same goes for video games. If someone comes up to me and says, well, I'm buying this for my kid, what do you think about it? I lay it out there. If someone says, I'm buying my kid Mortal Kombat, you probably shouldn't buy that for your kid. It's not just in a personal opinion. It's giving out the facts of something. And if me giving out the facts of something is basically telling them that the game overall sucks, I mean, come on. Evolve looked like a fantastic game, but when it got released, it was garbage and nobody bought it. Why? Because nobody took the bait.
Well, the problem is video games are an art form in themselves, and since there's so much creative things that go on in there, it's not like you could say one video game is better than another or whatever. It's all opinions. For one video game, even if it's one level in a video game that you pay $500 or $1,000 for, it's still what you're into, or beauty is in the eye of the beholder type of thing.
So you're telling me that playing the Slaughtering Grounds by Digital Homicide is basically akin to playing a Game of the Year Skyrim edition?
There's different
That's
mediums.
that's that's not no. It's the same medium. It's still a video game. It's still an online video game that you're buying from an online retailer
Yeah, but I'm
because
trying
of
to
the
say,
fact.
Doug, a video game is like a paint. The console is like an easel, and each video game is like a different painting. So it's just
But
a different form of media.
if your video game cannot effectively do what it's supposed to do, if your video game is clunky, if your video game has no story, if your video game has mechanics that don't flat out really work, if your video game has an engine that you did not use to optimization, your video game sucks, and your sales are going to suffer for the fact that everyone knows it sucks.
Well, see, that's an opinion again. It has no story. That's based on opinion. Some other people might think it's better than Lord of the Rings or something. You know, I mean,
No, literally, like no story mode. If somebody releases out a game that has no story mode and only has a multiplayer mode but is selling it on a story with no story mode, it's useless. That's basically bait and switching your customers. And a lot of
Doug,
these video game companies attempt to bait and switch their customers with content that was released at E3 4 years ago, don't make updates and don't actually tell people what's going on with their games, and then just drops that game in the middle of November and expects it to sell 1 million copies in 3 weeks.
Doug, video games came from a video game where you just hit a ball back and forth. I mean, it's not that hard to
And
recognize that
welcome
people like different things.
and welcome to the era of different styles and different ways to do things. I have no problem with that. What I have a problem with is developers lying or outwardly keeping information of the games that they're trying to sell to us from us. And the fact of the matter is, if you sell a game based on a video that you put out, a trailer, for instance, a trailer on a game that came out 4 years ago that looked fantastic. I'm talking overarching scapes, a fantastic story. They did a demo where it worked flawlessly and everything worked fantastically. And then you release a game that's broken, buggy, and has less story than a choose your own adventure book, then we have a problem. And a lot of these developers seem to think that they can feed us trash and we can call it treasure. That's not what's happening right now. We are pushing back. There's a reason why a lot of indie developers are going out, because they don't deliver what they promise. This isn't art form. This isn't opinion. It's fact. Developers are feeding us less and less and wanting us to pay more and more.
Like who I just don't understand why it seems like you got a personal vendetta about it. I mean, the difference between me and you, like on our show, we don't try to pick a certain video game or whatever, or like certain topic just to bash a whole industry. I don't do that. I'm like, you have like a certain vendetta against somebody, man.
I have a vendetta against unfair business practices. And there's a lot of companies that have those unfair business practices. Simple truth. Nice and simple truth.
Well, like who is straight up lying? Was there a feature in a video game that they said that wasn't? Like, give an example of a video game that they said X and Y was going to be in a game and they only got X. You know,
Star Wars Battlefront. We are promised so much more than what we are given. We are promised, getting to play our storylines from older Star Wars. And I'm not a Star Wars guy, but that the demos and everything about that game had me interested. I don't even like Star Wars that much, and that game looks so fantastic until I put the game in the demo slot. And this is a game that I pulled out of the packaging. Out of the packaging. This wasn't a demo unit that they sent me. This was straight up store use. Crack open the plastic, take a look inside, and the first thing I see is a season pass advertisement. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not too bad. There's probably have at least a somewhat of a story mode. Well, guess what? Your story mode's screwed because the only thing you have is one map to start off with. Not to mention the fact that it was buggy as all hell and people could barely play it. And the people who did play it looked at me and said, "Is this it?" So you're telling me that a company wants us to believe that we owe them more than $60 and they can't deliver $30 worth of content. A matter of fact, a couple years ago, the Deadpool game came out. It was a $30, no, it was a $40 game, straight out the box, and it played like a $60 game. You know why? Because it was a complete game. I would have paid $60 for Deadpool, but you know what? That company was like, okay, this isn't going to have the best graphics. This isn't going to have a whole, like a 12-hour story mode. But you know what? It played perfectly. A great story. And this game wasn't even in development for more than like 3 or 4 years at best, I believe. I think it was, I can't remember the name of the developer. But it's an example of a developer having good faith practices and telling people what comes with the game and pricing it accordingly.
I just don't understand. I mean, so instead of just playing the video games that you like and just ignoring the other ones, you're gonna start being a keyboard warrior?
It's not being a keyboard warrior. It's about telling the truth about the products that we have. If we can't hold the companies that make our games to a standard, then you're going to get fed shit, and then you're going to accept shit until you're like, well, I don't want to play games anymore because I don't like the games that come out anymore. There's a reason why people like us exist. Reason people like us exist to make sure that we keep these companies on their toes from a critical standpoint to make sure that we get what we ask for and we get what they promise. It's not an overarching critique of the entire industry, although unfortunately right now the levels have kind of switched to that style. But it's something that needs to be brought up from time to time, where companies need to be held accountable. And companies that sit there and charge $400 for a VR game that's worthless in the end scope of things, and technology that is broken, technology that is not complete, technology that does not essentially have the best interest of the customer, only best interest of the company at heart, does not bode well for that company to start off with, which is pretty much the reason why it's been marked down in price. Let's just be honest here. And also the fact that customers are like, now pass.
So who are all the companies that you're hating? You say you don't hate the whole industry, because I mean that sounds a bit like how we were talking about Chris Carrillo is blaming all. He's saying all technology is like crappy now. I mean, you're just like saying the video game industry is crap now.
I'm not saying the entire industry is crap. No, not at all.
So give specific companies that you have a beef with.
Specific companies I have a beef with? Well, that's for starters, EA. EA, right? No, EA is front and center for a lot of things. The first of which is the season pass debacles that they consistently put out there. That goes along with also Battlefront 2's loot box system, which is total and complete garbage. I think 2K, even though I'm not the biggest fan of 2K in some aspects, I think they're getting a bad rap right now because of how their virtual content or the virtual currency is. It's not really that big of an issue to me. I like the 2K's virtual currency just simply on the fact of I sat and played NBA 2K16 for a good amount of time, and I felt like progression was good without having to spend any money. And maybe the level has, like, that needle has switched a little bit with 2K18 this year, but I think 2K gets a bad rap in that respect. So I like 2K games in that the games are good. The story modes in their games are pretty good as well. And also, let's not forget the fact that 2K does own Rockstar, and Rockstar has given us some fantastic content over the years as well. So I think 2K games is not on that list. I think they're on the good side of the list, in my opinion. If we're also going on the good side, Devolver Digital creates some fantastic games that evoke that kind of old school feel with having some new school look to them. Hotline Miami, Broforce are just two examples right off the top of my head that I can say fantastic game mechanics and don't lie for what they are. They're cheap games, but they has good content to back up, even for a $15 price point. Let's see what else. Right off the top of the dome here.
What about Ubisoft? Because I love the Assassin's Creed games. I mean,
it'd be fine if they can actually complete a game before it gets put out. Ubisoft is really the kings of day one patches because they don't finish games before they come out with them. Ubisoft games are also known for having the type of graphical looks that not even a mother could love half the time because they don't complete the graphical work. Ubisoft.
What are you talking about? I thought the graphics were awesome on those games, man.
You take a look at Watch Dogs and the alpha versions of Watch Dogs that they were putting out there. They lied. They straight up lied. You don't kid yourself. Don't. Oh, they look okay. No, they lied. They locked off parts of the graphical content, and hackers had to go in and make them better on the PC version of Watch Dogs. Not to mention the fact that Assassin's Creed, I think it's Assassin's Creed Unity, was so buggy and so out of whack that some people rendered it unplayable, and they ended up not even ever patching that. They just take your money and run. So Ubisoft, as a gameplay is pretty good, story is good, but their graphical layouts and their day one patches are horrendous. Complete your game before you release them.
Yeah, but do you realize how much goes into making video games? I mean, do you really?
I do
you really? That's a serious question.
Video games. But you're also talking about multi-million-dollar companies that are dumping millions of dollars into these games. If you can't do something as simple as animate a face, get out of the business. Just get out of the business.
Dude, Google has way more money than most video game makers, and they still have issues and stuff. I mean, no company is perfect, you know. I mean,
no company is perfect, but again, if you're dumping millions and millions of dollars into a game and you can't do something as simple as animate a face, facial animation.
I don't even know what you're talking about, Doug.
All right, I'll go ahead. I'll screen share this real quick after I go ahead and pull up the Assassin's Creed Unity debacle. Let's see.
I haven't played the Unity. I've played some of the older ones, and those seemed like they were really good. I mean, are you saying all the Assassin's Creed games suck?
No, but it's consistently buggy. Consistently things missing, scripts out of whack. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and put this in the screen share real quick. So you're telling me that is a complete game? That right there. You see that? You see a face there?
Yeah, but game. Yeah, that's what you call it. That's what you call a glitch, Doug. That happens on video games. People abuse glitches all the time.
Oh, that happens a lot too. Oh yeah, that happens. Oh man, it's ew. Just ew. Just ew. So this right here would be a hardcoregamer.net.
Yeah, but it's easy to focus on small blemishes in a video game, Doug. I mean, you can't.
Come on now. Don't try to make excuses for a company that can't get their shit together.
I don't even know why I'm debating. This comes from somebody that says all Steam sucks. I mean, you realize how many people you probably pissed off when you said that.
I'm not talking the entire 100% scope of Steam, but I'm talking the fact that 60% of Steam's games came out in the last year and a half, and not to mention Steam Greenlight, and also the simple fact that you have companies releasing 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 games in a year. You want to talk about game development and how much some people just want to steal your money? You go to Steam and you look up the hundreds of games that have come out over the past year and a half, many from the same developer. And some of those being literally like on Steam Greenlight, you have Jim Bob 1, and at the same time they're developing Jim Bob 2, which is basically a complete reskin of Jim Bob 1. Okay, now if you want to talk about something that has actually been a stain on the face of gaming, Steam and Steam Greenlight is right there at the top of the list above all the big companies. So the simple fact of you have people droning out your money simply because of the fact that they're releasing trash games not on a weekly, not on a monthly, and not on a yearly, but a daily basis. Daily basis. And if you can't look at me and say that that's not true, then you have a much larger problem than just saying that I hate all video games. I don't hate all video games. I hate bad video games. And Steam Greenlight is the cause of 90% of those bad video games that have come out within the past 2 years.
Okay, so Doug said Steam's going to go out of business.
I'm not saying Steam's going to go out of business. But I'm saying that Steam is very good for getting rid of Steam Greenlight. I was so happy to see Greenlight go. So happy to see Greenlight go.
I mean, do you really think you're going to dissuade people's, like, Frank's opinion on Steam? Do you really think people who like Steam are going to just, like,
I'm not saying
believe that it sucks?
I'm not saying abandon Steam. I'm not saying anything to the fact that people shouldn't use Steam. I'm talking about how people need to have more selective choices when they're buying a game, because just because it's $3 on Steam does not mean that, oh, it's a fantastic deal. Guess what? You're probably seeing an asset flip. You're probably seeing a Unity asset flip. You're probably seeing borrowed, stolen, incomplete artworks and engines taken from somebody else. And just because
so you're straight up saying companies steal assets now?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, a lot of your Steam asset flippers steal or otherwise BS assets. Straight up. And you know it. There's no denying it. All you need to do is take a look at the hundreds and hundreds of games that are out there that have been poorly coded, poorly made, poorly marketed, and expect people to spend their money on just to be basically shuffled off in 3 days when they make a sequel to that very same game.
I mean, you sound like there's like some kind of giant conspiracy with these companies. Or something.
It's not a conspiracy. It's the truth. And everyone knows it's the truth. That's why the only people I have these discussions with are like you and Frank, because you don't want to actually look at it to the way that it really is. And that's the simple fact of the matter. Steam, as it stands right now, it has been a hotbed of horrible games over the past 2 years. They need to have somebody go through Steam and just eliminate hundreds and hundreds of games, because a lot of them are trash. Not saying all of them, because there's a lot of games out there that don't get play that are buried because of these horrible games. And there are games out there that are $3 or $5 that are worth your money that get buried because of these horrible games. I can't tell you how many games are out there that deserve your money, that deserve. Like, there's even stuff on mobile that deserve your money. Free-to-play games that will take your money and are better games than what you'll find on Steam right now. And
you already Doug's telling you what to play here, so better listen to him.
There are hundreds of games out there that deserve your money, deserve your attention, but you're going to have Bubble Blaster 45 sitting on the front page of Steam.
What's wrong with Bubble Blasting?
There's nothing wrong with
People might love Bubble Blasting. Is it the content or?
But you're telling me that a reskin of a game is worth $3. Not to mention one reskin up to what, 5, 10, or 20 reskins, and this is something that's been going on for the past 2 to 3 years.
Doug, I'll tell you exactly what the what game is worth $3. Are you ready for this? It's worth $3 to the person willing to pay the $3, and that's it. It's done. You act like it's some kind of giant conspiracy that is like
I think the
game industry is trying to fuck everybody over.
You're wrong. I think you're just taking things to that whole next level because you know what the truth is. You just don't want to admit it.
No, you're acting like there's like a giant conspiracy where every's forced to be playing these games. If a game is really that bad, it's just going to go under. I mean, that's what people have power with their dollar.
Power with your dollar, but people who also don't realize that they can either get their money back because Steam somehow just put out a release that they do refunds. By the way, the reason they put out refunds is because people kept putting out more and more trash games. Which, by the way, do I have to bring up, was it Batman Arkham Knight? Do I have to bring that up, that steaming pile of trash that is still not fixed, that they still charge $60 for from WB, and WB didn't even develop the damn thing. They outsourced it to some trash developer who had never done PC development before, not to mention basically transferring code from a finished game that was on console to PC.
So, wait a minute. I watched the Let's Play of the Arkham game. You're telling me, like, I have bad taste then if I think that game looks pretty good from the Let's Plays?
Which version did you see played?
I don't know. I mean, is all the versions?
No, not all the versions. You're not listening to me. I'm saying the game was completed for console. Completed by WB and their pseudo developers. The PC version was outsourced to a third-party developer who had never done development for PC before. So you're telling me that $60 is an acceptable price for a port out, essentially, a port out job from a company who had never done it before, and that's worth $60? Not to mention the fact of the extra DLC that you want to charge on top of that with the season pass. You're telling me that's worth it? Just because one person buys it, it's worth to the person who buys it. No, it's a simple fact of it. People are getting jacked around and screwed by companies who just want that dollar. They want that money.
Well, are people really getting screwed? What are the numbers on the sales? I mean, if you can't really get screwed if nobody buys it, Doug.
Well, see, here's the thing. Number one, they were so deluged with complaints and Steam refund requests in the first 24 hours because WB did zero, not one person on WB staff played the PC version before it was released. How's that for quality control? Nobody did any play testing on the PC version of, I'm pretty sure it was like Arkham Knight, but the simple fact is that this game was not quality tested. This game was poorly coded. This game was poorly done all over for the PC version. And WB was like, yeah, let's go and shovel it out there. And in the first 24 hours, they had to halt sales of the game on Steam because they're like, oh shit, they caught on to our horrible quality control standards. And
I guess my point, Doug,
still haven't fixed it.
I mean, that could be true, but my overarching point here is, as with any kind of media or content or anything, you really can't screw people over because the people just won't buy it then, and they just won't do good. It's not like we're some kind of like beaten like wife or something that's going to keep going back to it. Everybody isn't an idiot. People can make decisions for themselves, you know.
Do you pay any attention to the games media on YouTube? Do you pay any attention? Do you watch Sid Alpha? Do you watch Jim Sterling? Do you watch Leonard French, YouTube's favorite copyright attorney? Do you watch any of this?
No, not
this
really.
Is the type of stuff that doesn't get to you because you're not in the thick of what's going on. There's a lot of companies out there that will change names, have different shell companies just to be able to sell different games. Case in point, Digital Homicide was actually posting under like 3 to 4 different production names, not to mention the fact that they stole a production name from a company over in Europe and they didn't even know it was stolen. So what you're telling me is that you don't understand what's going on the undercurrent of the current online gaming industry, and you're trying to lecture me about an overall conspiracy theory. Come on.
All I know is that I won't pay for a game that doesn't look interesting to me. I mean, it's pretty easy.
It doesn't matter if it looks interesting. If it's trash, you got screwed. Period. There's no counter to that. If the game is trash, you paid your money and you got screwed.
Well, don't you take a risk on any kind of content or media or anything? I mean, when you buy a movie, you're taking a risk.
Yeah, you generally do. But you know what? If the game sucks, I can take it back. Normally. There's some, like, you're telling me also, like, just because I can return stuff on Steam, I don't get screwed out of my time?
Well, I didn't even mention returning it. Hold on. Damn it. I got some pop-ups here. I didn't even mention returning. I mean, that's an extra point that I guess you could say about it. I'm just saying, even if you can't return it, you can. It's the gamble. Lots of things are gambles in life. Doug.
Yeah, a lot of things are gambles, but the simple fact is, in some versions, content consumption in a lot of cases should not be a gamble. If you're advertising me something that is supposed to be of good quality, I shouldn't have to beg, borrow, and steal to get something of value in return for my money. Yeah,
but the problem with media is, or any kind of creative content or anything, is that it's almost impossible to determine if it's really good quality because there's so many different wide spectrums of opinions on the thing.
If there is a wide spectrum of opinions, that means the content is divisive. But when you're talking about things like video games, you're also talking about things like playability. You're also talking about things like graphical capability. You're talking about overall
graphics
usage.
People don't care about graphics a lot of times. They care more about storyline.
But we're also talking about a company that is now wanting you to pay, in the end, including downloadable content, upwards and over $100 for something that they might have had to develop, or they decided to develop the engine from scratch for. So we're including that in here too. If they focus more on the graphics than they do on the gameplay, that is a detriment to the game overall. When you're talking about something that in some cases, and this is something that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but has actually come up in my past from playing a game. The game is perfectly fine. It plays fantastically. It's a good story. Then you get to the end of the game, and there's a game-breaking bug where you can't finish the game. Now, if you have to dump 60 hours into this game on Steam, you can't get your money back because you only have 24 hours. So, if I'm playing this game, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm getting my money's worth all the way up until the end, and then we have a problem.
And that's why we don't have like content police and stuff as far as quality control goes. You know, like they don't have like a policing thing to make sure. Oh yeah, you got to make sure this movie is really good.
This right here is the policing issue here. Content creators on YouTube, reviewers, people out here doing the legwork, basically putting our necks out on the line, telling people that a lot of these games, a lot of these companies are trash. This right here, this venue right here, this is the battleground. This is the front line when it comes to content creators having to put their neck out to basically let people know and basically inform these people out here that their money is wasted. If they can't complete a game, they can't even play the damn game. Why would I let somebody else waste their time playing a game that they can't finish?
What games can't you finish?
I've only experienced one in specific, and the game was fantastic. It was a beat 'em up. It was Dragon Ball Evolution. I played the game. I was like, oh, okay. Simple beat 'em up. It's a one-on-one, kind of like a Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat style. You get to the end of the game, and it's done. You can't finish the game. Game-breaking glitch. And the only reason I got my money back is because I bought it used at GameStop. Because they have, of course, the 7-day used return policy. So I tried for 3 days to complete this game. 3 days to complete a game that should have taken no more than 6 hours if you're messing around and not even taking it seriously. Save my game, go back, try it again, can't finish it. Save my game, go back, try it again, can't finish it. 3 days. 3 days of playing the same damn level over and over and over again and getting screwed by the coding every single time.
Well, I don't know what happened with that.
That was at the time it came out, it was a $40 game. Brand new. So it became my responsibility to put out to the people that I knew and the followers that I had at the time to let them know that this game was booty at the end. Played fantastic all the way up till the end, but when it got to the end, you were done. It was finished. So this entire situation of well, there's no police. Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We are the police.
I'm saying there's no lawmakers.
Hey, if we're calling this the Wild West, then damn it, I'm the sheriff. And there's a ton of us sheriffs out here, baby. There's a ton of us out here ready to shut down any company that tries to screw us over. It's high noon every single day.
You're still just a critic, Doug.
And
not sheriff, you're a critic.
And you know what? The critics and the content creators who oppose themselves on the other side of the spectrum, that's why we're here. That's why we are here. Because of the fact that if not us, who? Who's going to be out here to tell people that this game sucks? Who's going to be out here? What, you're going to trust IGN? You're going to trust IGN? Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think anything's going to happen with Humble Bundle. But if you're telling me that IGN is just slathering high scores when there's proof out there that reviews have been bought and paid for in the past, if you're telling me that Game Informer is a fantastic outlet to get your game reviews from, we have a very large problem. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm not sponsored by anybody in the games media, not anybody in the games industry. The simple fact of the matter is there's a lot of reviews out there that are bought, paid for. As long as it's above like an 8.5, they're perfectly fine. But you know what? Ain't none of that advertising dollar in my pocketbook. There's no online poker thing that's going to pay me for juicy slots. There's nobody out there that's going to paying me currently to drop a 10 on their game. You know why? Because we're independent. That's what we are here for. This is the battleground every single day. Front line, front and center. This is what we do, and I'm going to continue to do that until I can do it no longer.
And Doug's fighting it with his keyboard. You don't have to worry about me, Doug. If I see a video game that I don't like, I'm not going to buy it. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine.
All right. So, next news story. I'm going to go ahead and pop this in here. So, next news story. YouTube fixing monetization issues with premium tier partners after complaints. There are different rules if you're whitelisted.
Wait a minute, repeat that? I'm sorry.
YouTube fixing monetization issues with premium tier partners after complaints. So.
So you. Hold on, sorry about that. Hold on.
Hold on. Alrighty, so we did go over this the other day, and I'm pretty sure he's not going to hear about this again, but oh well. About the Casey Neistat versus YouTube issue. So, looking at this here. Alright, going down the article. YouTube representative confirmed to Polygon that there are a number of whitelisted partners who are allowed to run partner-run ads on the website. It means that they aren't flagged by YouTube and use external sales forces to sell the advertisement for them. To compare, while Philip DeFranco and Casey Neistat rely on AdSense, which include ads sold through YouTube, ABC can run their own third-party ads on YouTube because they're whitelisted by YouTube. Now,
okay, so I'm sorry, I just got back here. The three dogs were.
Yeah. TLDR here. Remember me telling you that there is a difference between corporate users of YouTube and individual users of YouTube? Remember me telling you this and how none of us actually knew it was a thing, but I can assume it was a thing? Congratulations, it is a thing. And ABC can run approved third-party ads on their individual channels because of the fact that they are a corporate-run channel. It was confirmed that companies are whitelisted who can run ads on the website. So
I don't think that's right, man.
Hey, in these cases, the partners work directly with the advertisers to serve ads on their content, and in doing so, take full responsibility for their placement, including issues around brand suitability. Now, YouTube representative has stated that the external ad use by whitelisted channels is being reviewed. So, now I still maintain that there is an advantage to being a company versus an individual on YouTube.
Yeah, and an unfair advantage.
How is it an unfair advantage? Those companies have worked their ass off to make channels that are big, to make brands that are big.
And one person can't work their ass off? One person can't work their ass off, Doug.
They're not a company. Simple as that.
A company isn't more important than one person, though.
But a company also has more legal pull as far as advertisers go, and they pay for their own advertisers as well. So unless an individual is going to put out there that they're going to run their own, oh wait, they already do. It's called individual advertisement on the videos. Oh wait.
Yeah, but if this was you, you would be just as pissed though if this kind of situation happened to you though.
No. Absolutely not.
I mean, I hate
the one video.
Doug, I hate corporate America. That's what I hate.
If you hate corporate America, then you hate American success stories. Then, if you hate corporate America, I never want to see you shopping at a Walmart. I never want to see you shopping anywhere but mom and pop shops and thrift stores. And even
I don't go to Walmart. Really, I don't go to Walmart.
Where do you shop?
I really don't do a whole lot of shopping, actually.
Where do you shop normally? Where do you go to eat?
I go to the small marts by me all the time.
You ever shop?
I won't eat at McDonald's. Nope. No.
Don't eat at Taco Bell?
No.
Don't eat at Burger King? Come on now. Be honest.
I eat at Burger King once in a while.
Oh, then you should never eat at Burger King ever again because it's corporate America. You should never shop or eat or do anything. Matter of fact, do you make your own? Clothing there? Because that shirt you're wearing is made by a company. That's corporate America.
Why do you love corporate America so much?
Your cell phone is corporate America. Your tablet is corporate America. Those headphones are corporate America. AMD for your Ryzen build, corporate America.
I guess what my thing is I believe more in the people themselves than the company. I try not to put the company as so much of an entity, like make the company an entity more than the person, It's the people that's important. Not the
way that it goes, man.
Not the brand.
But when you talk about the difference between corporate America and an individual, it's like I was saying last week. That difference is so massive, and also in the amount of money that you're spending with corporate America versus an individual on YouTube. So, do you honestly think in any scope of interest in your life that you can go up against ABC in the same advertiser loop and have the exact same pull. Come on now.
I'm just talking about right and wrong, man.
That is right
and wrong. I want more. I wish life was more fair, man.
That is something you unfortunately will never run into. It's a simple fact of they're going to have more money than you at all times because they've earned more money than you. They have more advertiser pool because they've earned that advertiser pool.
Let's not forget too, just like the video game developers you're such against, and now you're praising these companies instead. But these companies could be corrupt too.
It's not a fact of being corrupt. It's not a fact of being corrupt. It's a fact of a company that has earned that spot and continues to earn that spot with the content they provide. And the content that is self-sponsored / sponsored with approved advertisers that company has earned and also went to and said, here's the advertising deal. They have their own advertising deals, and they happen to also go through YouTube as well.
So you can earn something even if you're corrupt, is that what you're saying?
See, that's just you abjectly calling everybody corrupt. This is you're talking about conspiracy theories. Abject corruption. No. Unfortunately, until you can prove it otherwise, doesn't exist.
Yeah, but why can the video game companies be corrupt but not ABC or other big TV networks and stuff?
I wasn't talking about video game companies being corrupt. I'm talking about video game companies having an unethical approach to selling their wares. Corruption.
That's the same thing. Unethical and corruption is the same thing. Yes, it is.
Corruption is a total and absolute corruption, an actual taking over of your operations by unethical means.
You can be kind of corrupt.
No, you either corrupt or you're not. It's just a simple way that is.
Okay.
Simple to the point. Because that corruption may start small, but it affects everything else. And if we're going by that stature, I don't even know why you're on YouTube. Because most people have been calling YouTube corrupt for years.
Well, I'm on YouTube because it's pretty easy to use.
So then you don't care. You don't care about corruption. Hey, come on, let's get down to brass tacks here.
You're right. I should be using more of like OBS and the other software, even though they're probably a pretty big company too. I mean, really, it's hard to even find any kind of choices nowadays.
Because corporate America is not abjectly corrupt. I don't consider YouTube corrupt. I consider YouTube to be acting in its own self-interests, which I can expect any company to do.
Well, you could say that they're greedy, though, if all they care about is money.
If all YouTube cared about is money, then we wouldn't be getting a cut of YouTube ad revenue. YouTube has never turned a profit. Ever. Not once.
What are their figures, Doug, when you say that? When you say no, there's no executives and stuff with airplanes and stuff flying personal jets and stuff on YouTube.
Give me a sec here. I'll go ahead and pull that up for you.
I mean, do you really like ABC though? Because you're really like a fan.
Just using that as an example. Just using it as an example.
I mean, what if ABC was corrupt? How would you feel about that? Would you be like, they were wrong then? They shouldn't be getting that? I mean...
But even if ABC was corrupt, that doesn't affect their advertiser revenue as it pertains to YouTube.
Well, I mean, I remember that we were arguing about how Casey Neistat, you think he's corrupt or whatever, so...
I don't like how he operates. I think he operates on a shock value that is very much unethical. I think Neistat likes to jump into stuff that he knows he has no chance of outwardly winning just for the attention. And if we're being honest, I honestly think Casey Neistat should have left YouTube a long time ago because he is very much in a disconnect, partially because also he just sold out to CNN. So I don't even know why he's still here.
Well, what's wrong with CNN?
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with CNN, but for somebody who's all about the individual and all about the individual YouTube creator and all about charity, he's sure enough just turned a hefty little profit by selling out his company to a larger company.
Well, I mean, if ABC was corrupt, you think they still should have gotten it? That's what it seems like you're saying. It doesn't matter what the company is or who they are. They still deserve the advertiser.
I'm saying that a company who has had their own advertisers and has their own advertising deals and has a corporate content license with YouTube is held to a different standard because they're a large company. That's the one thing that you don't get. It's a different style of content agreement. And their agreement with YouTube is different from ours. And I understand that because I am not a company. I don't have hundreds of people underneath my CEO status.
So are you saying that they shouldn't have any kind of restrictions then?
It's not about restrictions. It's about a company that follows their own agreement with YouTube. If they
I asked you a question.
Their own agreement. If they broke their own agreement, then that would be different.
I asked you, should they have any restrictions? That was a straight up question. I wasn't talking about the previous conversation. I asked you a specific question. Should companies on YouTube have any restrictions, or should they be unrestricted totally?
Whatever YouTube's content agreement is what it is, and whatever restrictions they have, they need to abide by. Obviously, the agreement that they have doesn't compute with whatever everybody else has, but then again, that's not our problem.
I just think you're saying that a company can do no wrong. That's what you're saying. That's what I'm getting at.
You're assuming that. What I'm telling you is their agreement with YouTube is different from our agreement with YouTube. So therefore,
I'm telling you,
their agreement is, and then you're wrong in that assumption because of the status of content creators on YouTube. You're talking about a company that works to bring in viewers and advertisers versus us who started off as literally nothing.
Well, I'm going to start, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start a video platform and I'm going to treat everybody the same, whether it's one giant company or it's a single person. How about that? That's what YouTube is a content platform. It should, anybody that comes on there should be treated the same.
And then you'll also have lawyers and whatnot that are going to be telling you different. And eventually you'll listen to those lawyers and be like, well, if I want to have, why
would I listen to him? You don't know me.
Platform,
you don't know me.
Then you would have to act in the interests of your company, in the interest of whatever board or business associate that you have to either work with or be answer to.
Why would I have a board if it could just be me? I could be a one-man company.
Have fun.
I mean, why are companies gods and people don't matter? That's my question.
I'm not saying
that's what your opinion is.
No, I'm saying
I'm telling you what you're saying.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that a standard content creator license versus a company license has always, in every single form of business, and always will be in every single form of business, different.
It should. Why does it have to be that way, though?
Because you're thinking of different scopes. The little guy, no matter if you're me or PewDiePie, will always be the little guy. We don't have as far of a scope. We don't have as far of a reach and outreach, a corporate influence, a corporate image, a corporate way of assuming business than a company like ABC, which, by the way, ABC is owned by Disney, just in case you didn't know that. So Disney's corporate image versus the individual's corporate image, which, by the way, Disney used to employ PewDiePie, and when PewDiePie decided to go on this tangent, Disney cut him. So Disney has their own image to abide by, their corporate image, their corporate actions, their corporate advertisers, while you as an individual content creator have none of those things. You have nothing like that. You have nobody under you. You have no employees. You have no corporate image to abide by. Okay?
Yes, you do. You have to abide by your brand, don't you? Your brand is pretty much a brand.
Your brand is whatever you choose. Yeah, your brand is whatever it is that you do. Yeah. I've seen people turn 180 degrees on YouTube. I've seen people switch their content like that, literally overnight, not even to appease their own personal interests, to appease advertiser interests. And you know what? It's their decision to do so.
I mean, what was I trying to say? I mean, yeah, in that case with the ABC and Disney and everything, they have more of an outreach, but it is possible for one person, you know, like Howard Stern or something, to get more followers and everything than a whole company.
Depends on the scope of the company.
Yeah, it is, but you're pretty much, you said that a company is always going to have a further outreach, which is not really true because
I'm talking a company the size of ABC and Disney, because Disney not only owns ABC, it owns ESPN, it owns Hollywood Studios, it owns Hollywood Records, it owns Lucasfilm, it owns Marvel Entertainment. So Disney's outreach and Disney's forward progression into media as a whole is going to be so much larger than you.
Soon you're going to be saying companies should be whitelisted from laws and stuff.
Speaking of conspiracy theories, see, it's always a conspiracy theory unless it's against the widow guy, and then it's fact. You know, the fact of the matter is that a lot of times in business, companies are larger and have more versatility than the individual does. And that's the way it's been for a long time. That's the way it's always going to be, because businesses have a much greater influence and a much greater outreach, not to mention a much greater monetary interest than an individual will. And
you're saying they have more power, pretty much, right?
No, I'm talking about outreach and influence. And influence isn't the same as power. Influence is not the same as power. No, it is not. Don't get it twisted. Don't get confused. Influence is not the same as power. Power is the ability to snap your fingers. Influence is the ability to coerce and the ability to win over something. Power is just instantaneous action.
Well, we're talking about right and wrong.
The same.
I'm trying to talk about right and wrong. I'm not talking about how it necessarily is.
And if we're talking about right and wrong, then you still have no leg to stand on in this discussion, because there's really no right and wrong as it pertains to advertiser revenue and the way that it's made or otherwise whitelisted or blacklisted on YouTube. It's whatever the policy states. So right and wrong has no influence on the conversation.
You realize just because something is, even if it's written in straight up law, it could still be, a law can still be corrupt. Just like terms of service can be corrupt. I'm talking about right and wrong. Should it be that way or shouldn't it be that way? I'm not questioning you if it is that way. You just read the fucking article, so
I'm telling you that that's a PR. That's PR speak. They're going to review it. It's not going to change, and then it's going to go back to the way it was, because it's the way it's been. It's the way it's always going to be.
What? So you're telling me just because I said that doesn't mean it actually changed?
Just because
you're saying nothing changed here?
No, nothing changed. Nothing changed. Oh. All I'm telling you is that YouTube has basically confirmed what I has said to be the truth in last week's episode. And the fact of whether you think it's right or wrong has no basis on advertiser.
You don't care if it's right or wrong. Placement. That's what you're saying.
Right or wrong has no basis in it.
Well, people are up in arms and stuff. They're trying to shout for what's right and wrong.
The only people who are truly up in arms about it are the Casey Neistat fans. I've heard nothing about this outside of it.
Hey, Philip DeFranco and his followers are.
Oh, Phil,
he's pretty big.
Let's just get something straight. Philip DeFranco has been pissed at YouTube for how long? So he is biased in his commentary on the situation because he basically he runs his entire network off of drama. Which, by the way, the drama YouTubers were killed off about a year and a half ago because YouTube got sick of their shit. Even though I have followed him in the past, is no better than Keemstar in that respect of, well, this is bullshit. Well, guess what? You're a drama YouTuber. All you do is talk about current events, and that qualifies as being a drama YouTuber, especially when you got YouTube versus the little guy. That's all I keep hearing. YouTube versus the little guy. YouTube's keeping the little guys down. Well, guess what? You make good content. You make content that actually abides by the terms of service, and you actually make content that does both of those and is also engaging and intelligent, you won't have this problem. Straight up.
So you did pretty much. You've said word for word. Do what they say. You won't have a problem.
Essentially, you agreed to abide by the YouTube terms of service. No one forced you to join. No one forced you to make a video, and nobody forces anybody to be on this platform. Nobody.
So even if
you've to do it,
you've spent your
entitlement,
blood and tears into the thing, and they decide to change some things.
I poured my blood, sweat, and tears into this channel talking about other people, and now they're saying that me exploiting other people's situations is no longer abidable by the terms of service, so I can't be a drama guy no more. I actually have to make original content? I'm being held down. No, you're not being held down. You're being held to a higher standard. Bada boom.
Who are you,
Real Scotty, how you doing?
Man, what? I mean, like, if the terms of service can change. You could be using a service for a long time, and its terms of service could change, and you could disagree with that, but you can't get out of it because you spent your whole life on the thing. I mean, how is that right?
You can't get out of it. Anybody could get out of the YouTube game in 20 seconds. It's called delete channel.
But that's just like saying you don't need the internet to live. That's just like that one.
You're equating a service that many people have to use to, sign up for specific things for their current health and well-being, to actually be able to pay bills, because a lot of places no longer have straight up offices. They only do e-commerce. So you're telling me you're equating that to a social networking site that you can make money off of?
No, you're equating it to it.
No, you're equating it to it because you're like, well, what about the term of service? You can live without the internet, can't you? No, there is no equivalency there. What I'm telling people is that acting with integrity on YouTube is not a hard thing to do.
You're telling them follow their rules. That's all that matters is their rules. It doesn't matter what you have to think.
If since we're speaking about that, I can just walk into any place with a concealed carry weapon. I don't agree with their law, so I'll just do what I want. Come on.
You can disagree with what they have said in there.
But you know what?
Many places don't let cameras in there, even though they have surveillance cameras. There's a lot of policies and stuff that don't even make sense that companies have.
And you know what? If you want to shop there, if you want to work there, and if you want to create content on their website, you have to follow by those rules. It's not hard to do. It's not hard to actually follow what you're told to do because you do not have to be there. This is not a requirement. YouTube is not a requirement. Social media isn't a requirement. You can't
No,
like you think anybody else on YouTube who practices hate speech, you think they agree with the new terms of service? You think they agree with that? Do you think they agree with not being able to monetize them? Putting up the Nazi symbolism and doing the Sieg Heil on YouTube. You think they agree with the new policy saying they can't do that, even though it's
no, I don't
morally
think
wrong
anybody
and
agrees
ethically
with
objectionable?
having controversial in the title and
No.
getting demonetized. I don't agree with that.
Hey, you know what? That is YouTube protecting their advertiser interests because the advertisers, which by the way, have always in the endscape of what we do called the shots. If advertisers can pull out like that. You know why? Because that's what advertisers do. They have an agreement. There's always an out clause, and at any point, they can say, you know what? We're done here. Cut off the contracts, and YouTube will be dead in a week. And then what? And then what? Everyone's gonna start. Oh, I don't know. They're gonna boycott Pepsi. They're gonna boycott McDonald's. They're gonna boycott every single advertiser YouTube's ever had. Is that really the scope that we're gonna go down to? That anytime an advertiser pulls out of YouTube because they don't want to be listed on controversial content, all of a sudden now we're putting the blame on them instead of ourselves by not putting out intelligent, diverse, good content that doesn't interfere with the terms of service. Now we're blaming other people because we suck.
So you're saying because somebody disagrees with the terms of service, they're dumb and they suck.
It doesn't matter if you disagree with the terms of service. What I'm saying is if you abjectly consider the terms of service to be stupid and then break them and then get pissed off because you get shut down like Casey Neistat did as far as the terms of service goes and your monetization options, you're stupid. And Casey Neistat, if you're watching this, you're stupid. You acted stupid. You're acting stupid after the fact, and you're stupid right now for looking at me with your dumb little beady eyes.
Man, you're so judgmental, man. Damn. I mean, why don't you worry about yourself for a change, dude?
Oh, I do worry about myself. But the fact of the matter is that when someone's going to do something that is irresponsible to themselves and irresponsible to the people they called fans, they deserve to be called out on it.
Well, I mean, again, their fans really believe in him. I mean, I don't watch him a whole lot, but the people that do support him, like Philip DeFranco and stuff, that believe in it, I mean, I don't think they're idiots. They've gotten pretty far, so they're not.
The only idiot I'm calling out here, is Casey Neistat. That's it. That's the only idiot that I'm calling out here because he acted like an idiot because he wanted attention. He got his attention. Fantastic for him. Made a couple.
But if he was an idiot, he wouldn't have gotten as far as he did, though.
Oh no, you can be an idiot and get famous. Come on,
he's rich too.
Don't be soft. Don't be soft.
You kind of have to be smart to grow a large YouTube channel and be able to get money and famous. You know.
Don't be soft. Don't go down that road. Don't go down that road and tell me that you have to be intelligent to make stupid videos. You know. You can't sit here and tell me that, oh, well, he's really good at marketing. You know what? It is what it is.
You don't even know him, dude. You don't even know him, man.
I really don't care.
You don't know him personally. And you're calling him an idiot? I don't. Have you ever noticed I don't call people idiots?
If he is going to use victims of a tragedy on their backs to point to the fact that he can't monetize a video, he's an idiot straight out the box. I don't care what he did before. I don't care what he does from now on. The simple fact, if you're going to sit there and use their pain, their suffering, and the tragedy they now have to live through for the rest of their lives. People lost mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, children. You're telling me that you'd support somebody if you lost somebody in a tragedy like that? Come on.
Dude, I don't care if somebody makes $1 billion off of a charity. I still think that the charity deserves to get their money, though.
Yeah.
I thought that you would have given the charity the money.
Yep.
That's what I said on the TNT podcast because I had the article on there.
Right. And that's where I disagree.
So you're saying
Most
that charity shouldn't have any money from that?
See, again, that's you taking it to extremes and assuming some sort of conspiracy thing where I hate everything.
No, I'm saying theoretically, if you have somebody that is benefiting off of something, should they get the money or not?
Benefiting, no, somebody who's being exploited for monetary gain long term.
Well, that you just pretty much said though on your other show that like it's helping his fame and everything. So I mean, the outcome is pretty much.
See the outcome of the situation could be different if he would have done things the right way. Like I said last week, if he would have actually did a video that was unmonetized intelligently and said, I'm making t-shirts and all the proceeds go towards this charity.
Well, he screwed up. He didn't do it the right way. Doesn't mean he's an evil person.
No, he's just acting. He's acting in an exploitative way, so he can make himself look good. To make himself look like a charity guy. It's well, I want to give the money, but they won't let me give the money.
But you're so angry at him. It's like you really think he like murdered somebody, dude.
No, it's not anger. It's not anger. It's not overreaction. It's simple, straight out outrage to the fact that someone's going to exploit somebody else's misery just to make themselves look good. He could have dropped it. He could have dropped it and said, you know what? YouTube said that my video is not suitable for monetization, so here's what I'm going to do instead. He could have made that mistake, owned the mistake, and then moved on. That's two situations where this entire debacle between him and YouTube didn't have to happen. That's two opportunities to take the best road possible. And it's not anger. I'm not angry. If I was angry, you know it. Oh, you know it. Not angry.
Why are you such an angry person then?
I'm not angry.
Because this is pretty.
This is me telling you how it is, and like I'm a straightforward person. This is the way I've always been. I've always been a very straightforward person. I like telling things the way that it is, and the way that most people don't like to hear it because they assume that I'm an angry person. I'm not an angry person. I'm actually a very excited, calm, collected. Yeah, like I get passionate. I think people confuse anger with passion. If we're talking about right and wrong, I like being for certain things. Like I like being about a purpose. You know, if you see me at the gym, I look pissed off. You know why I look pissed off? Because I'm passionate about my workout. If I'm there to do the work that needs to be done. If you see me on Instagram at AphroditesCrush, by the way, if I'm telling you where the hell are you while I'm at the gym at 2 o'clock in the morning, that's me showing passion about what I do. Oh yeah. But the simple fact is, if someone's going to exploit something, I'm going to call them out on it. And if someone's going to sit there and try to tell me that's in the best interest of somebody else, that, you know, me getting famous helps them out, I have a problem with that. Every single time and twice on Sunday.
Well, what would it have been better if he was like? How would he have been better if like? Because I've seen other people fight for like charitable causes and stuff. I mean, like,
well, I just
should he have fought YouTube and try to make them donate or something? I mean.
You know what? You know, been a really intelligent idea would have been fantastic. Would have made both companies look fantastic. For each view on my video that I get, and this is just saying in general, since he is so flush with cash now from selling his company to CNN, he would have said this. He should have done this. Hey everybody, it's Casey Neistat here. Now, unfortunately, the last video that I did about the victims of the Las Vegas tragedy, I'm telling you right now, unfortunately, YouTube has stated I violated the terms of service because I tried to monetize it. I understand their policy, and I'm going to look forward. However, I'm going to challenge YouTube to do this. For every view that this video gets, and every like that this video gets, I will donate $1. And I challenge YouTube to match that dollar for dollar. That makes him look good, that makes YouTube look good, and it completely avoids the entire mess of actually having regular people stick their nose into business where it doesn't belong. I just gave you some free business advice there, Casey Neistat, which you should have done. And maybe you think about that next time. Because then it's not about profit. The only thing that really you do there, you increase some views on your channel. It's still not a profitable video, but you get attention instead of trying to battle it out with the company that made you the star that you are. And it makes YouTube look good because now they're like, hey, let's donate some money, get a little tax break. Because Casey will get a little tax break too. Yeah? It's not hard to figure out. It's not hard to learn and actually to grow to be able to do business in an intelligent way. That's exactly how everybody would have came out smelling like roses out of this situation. Not hard to do.
I mean, in your heart, though, Doug, do you think he would have really donated that money, or do you think he would have just kept it for himself? Honestly.
If you're putting out a promise to donate X amount of dollars, you better have your ass behind that promise. Otherwise, it's going to get found out. It would be found out pretty quickly where that money was or was not going. And you know what? He could have set up a GoFundMe. He could have set up let's see. There's probably would have been at least 3 to 4 different causes that would have came to the aid of those people. You know, it's the same thing with Hurricane Harvey a couple weeks back, about a month or so back. You know, was it JJ Watt was doing matching donations, and you know what? That money went straight back into Houston. You know, it's this type of thing that Nice Guy could have learned from and actually maybe expanded upon. That's what should have happened. What did happen is that someone decided to talk out of turn with basically the company who's giving him the money. You think I agree with all the policies I have to go with at work? You think I agree with every single little bit of policy that I have to deal with? The amount of red tape that I work with on a daily basis? I don't agree with a lot of it, but I understand its purpose in a lot of ways. And I have no ethical quarrel with that as well because I understand where that company's coming from. So therefore, I follow the policies that are presented before me. I follow everything to a T because that's my job. Which, by the way, he's not beholden to a job anyway as it pertains to YouTube because there's no actual talent contract. But the simple fact is that you follow the instructions, you follow your terms of service, even if you don't agree with it, you work on activism to try to work with YouTube. Maybe if NiceStat would have got together with a bunch of other content creators as well, like there's a VidCon every year, there's social meeting, those social media events throughout the year that have worked over and over again with YouTubers to improve the terms of service in the past.
Well, I'm a big supporter. I like to listen to a lot of those, like the horror readings and stuff on YouTube where they read like creepypastas and stuff, and I'm all for that movement where they're trying to be like keep YouTube creepy and stuff. Because it just sucks for a lot of people are losing their money, man. At the end of the day, that's what's happening.
But that's the thing too, is that it's not an abject demonetization of every single thing. Did you know that you can appeal those demonetization efforts?
Yeah, but again, how good of communication is YouTube?
No. So you're telling me that you have little faith in the appeal process of YouTube?
Well, from what I've heard, I've never had an appeal for myself with anything, but from what I've heard, their communication and the appeals, and if you get like with the flaggings and stuff, it's all a mess because you get strikes on your thing, and then your whole thing gets shut down just from a shitty automated process.
But again, if you're also talking about putting out decent content, honestly, if we're being honest about YouTube's policies that are outwardly pretty much stupid, it's the actual appeal process for flagging, like DMCA and things like that. Unless you have a specific contact at YouTube, you really have to walk on eggshells. That's it. That's the only thing as it pertains to YouTube is you fighting for fair use. And that's an actual issue. not the fact that you can't make drama videos on YouTube. It's the fact that people actually abiding by law and getting screwed by a company for abiding by law, by a company who wants the money that does not deserve it. That's an actual issue. That's an actual issue that's plaguing YouTube right now. And the system still isn't perfect. But YouTube has also stated that they're working to specifically change that process to try to fine-tune it to where people aren't getting screwed for fair use.
And people losing money isn't an actual issue? It doesn't matter what's happened to them?
That's not an actual issue because of YouTube's changing its terms of service and people not following it.
Even by them not changing who they are, that's okay.
Oh, changing who they see, that's the thing. You cannot equate YouTube channels with personality and ability to make good videos. You cannot equate that because it is not the same.
I'm not trying to equate it. I'm saying
it is equated. If you're saying that all it is and people getting screwed out of money because being who they are on YouTube, you're telling me that if someone makes drama videos for 3 years, makes $3 million a year, all of a sudden they can't make drama videos exploiting other YouTubers, all of a sudden they deserve that money? No, that's a trash explanation. That's a trash.
No, I'm talking. I'm not representing myself very well. I'm trying to say channels that are like about horror or about X, Y, or Z content, if that's what their whole channel is based around and they've done pretty well before and now you have a change of service, you pretty much have to change your whole presence on YouTube. Then your content has to be different. I mean, most people just end up having to quit, because they don't know how to do anything else.
If there is a particular topic that people are seeing that has been affected by the ad change, that's why you work with YouTube contacts to appeal the ones that have been demonetized. Okay? And also, the fact of the matter is, you probably have to change some of your content that you produce on a weekly or a daily basis. Simple as that. And not just that, it's also the fact of how people put out that content, because they have assumed for so long that they can put out whatever they want and they'll make the money like that. That there is no recourse. Now the recourse actually comes, the happy period, it's like you drink for 25 years and all of a sudden you have cirrhosis of the liver and then you're like, well, why can't I drink anymore? Come on. So people are equating YouTube to life or death. I'm hearing this a lot. I'm hearing people say that you don't roll into YouTube like I roll into YouTube. I see a lot of people saying, I don't know what I'm going to do if I have to get an actual job. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. I don't know how I'm going to be able to afford the 2 car payments I have this month because of the fact that I had a massive reliance on YouTube for so long. There are people who are going into depression because they can't monetize videos anymore.
Well, what should they do then?
You have to pack up. You have to work with the new means that you have. And if you want to stay on YouTube, you change the way you make your videos. Your personality can be perfectly the same, but you have to operate specifically within the means of what you're given. And also, if you have a YouTube contact, which isn't really that hard to get, if you are working hard enough for YouTube, or as they work with YouTube and things like that, it's not hard to say, okay, I need to know what these standards are. That way I can operate within the new blueprint.
So if you can only survive on making rated R movies, you're saying just change it. Make that Spawn PG-13. Make that Spawn movie PG-13. It'll be okay. It'll turn out good.
Again, making false equivalencies, man. You're taking it to a level of which it has absolutely zero to do with the actual conversation.
That does have to do with it because they're both content. You both have to you got to water your shit down to be on YouTube. You have to be even worse than family friendly. You have to be way more.
No, you do not have
than TV is right now.
Oh, whatever. See, again, this is you not actually understanding what's going on with the advertising revenue. There's a ton of people doing the exact same thing that they were doing before. We're so worried about apocalypse. about their content, and then they weren't really affected. It's the simple fact of right now, the fact of the matter is that advertisers, and you know what? I don't know if you know this or not, but there's a level of advertiser revenue that's accessible by people who make videos that aren't necessarily PG content. You know what happens? You actually, like, there's an explicit button that you can use. Oh my God, it's an explicit video on YouTube that you can actually mark it as explicit. And you still get advertiser revenue. You still get advertiser revenue because YouTube understands what your content is. YouTube actually has its algorithm figured out. I don't know if you know this or not, which can tell specifically what is going into these videos. It's not just some dude clicking flag. YouTube, as the way the system works right now, there's actually 3 levels: zero monetization, limited monetization, and full monetization. These 3 levels operate within the system. Okay, the only difference between point A and point C is the middle ground that people are like, well, I can't make very much money off of that. Well, guess what? A 13-year-old who just started using YouTube for the first time really doesn't want to hear 5 guys in a round table saying fuck for 3 hours.
I'm just saying whole genres are being wasted away on YouTube. I don't know if that's a good thing.
Because people don't understand how to correctly catalog and work their videos. You think I was happy to see WCPW almost get the axe because of this? No. But you know what? Sometimes seeing people get cracked over the head with steel chairs for 3 hours isn't really the best way to consume content on YouTube. YouTube is not a free and clear service. Never has been.
It used to be. No, it used to be. It used to be more of a Wild West.
Oh, yeah, and that's a good thing? How is that a good thing? Since we're talking right and wrong, so some kid gets on YouTube, 13, 14 years old, because you have to be 13 to use a service, right? 13 is your standard age range to be able to use YouTube. So people uploading rated R videos to YouTube straight up are supposed to be allowed to just upload rated R videos to YouTube? Is that what you're talking?
I'm not talking about
no.
I'm not talking about copyrighted shit.
No, I'm not even talking about copyrighted shit. I'm talking about people uploading movies, actually making movies, uploading them to YouTube because they feel that is the best way to get their content out there.
Okay, I think you should be able to put nudity on YouTube. I mean,
no, there is no such thing as immunity.
Nudity.
Nudity again.
Yeah, porn. You should be able to have porn on YouTube. If I remember, it was okay.
So you're okay with disseminating TVMA content to 13-year-olds? Is that what you're telling me? Is that the conversation we're having now?
What's the age on YouTube? You have to be 13.
13. You have to be a minimum of 13 years old to create a YouTube account, if I'm not mistaken, because that's your standard American implied usage age for online content. So you're telling me that if some 13-year-old comes across some random porn vid, it's okay? Because that's what you're telling me, that you want to keep that Wild West vibe going, to keep that element of danger going on YouTube. Come on. I know for a fact you wouldn't agree with that. But the simple fact is there's a ton of people out there who want to keep it that way because they don't want to lose the vibe of their channel. They don't want to have to grow and change and evolve and morph their content into something that is a little bit more discernible to the masses.
Dude, it's just everything's just going to be watered down.
No, not everything's going to be watered down. It's just if you want to keep that same level, you want to keep that same ability to keep those 150,000 views up. You know what happens? You move, you morph, you change, you evolve. It's like Triple H was saying the same thing just a couple years ago when he said evolution, adapt or perish.
Actually, you know what? I kind of changed. You were asking me. I really didn't answer that question. I don't think 13 years old should be watching nudity, but I still think you should be able to get nudity on regular cable and YouTube because I think it should be up to the parents to regulate that stuff because you can buy so much stuff. You could go on the internet and regulate it. It it should be more on the parents and stuff to disseminate what their kids have.
See, the thing you're forgetting though is that when you are not using the system in the correct fashion, you're not actually using it correctly. When you're not going by the actual usability of the website, the way it is now designed, then you're just basically shooting yourself in the foot.
So you're saying tag it better?
Tag it better, which is part of the issue that we're having right now. That's part of the how the algorithm is working. The algorithm searches for tags and then works within those tags to take a look at the content and then flags it accordingly. And not to mention the fact that people, if we're seriously going down this road to where people can't evolve, why don't people use Patreon? Why don't people use GoFundMe? If people are seriously like, well, my livelihood's being attacked by YouTube, guess what? There are different ways for you to make your content now. It is not that hard.
Well, no, it's not. I mean, a lot of people are starting to do that, I guess. But the problem with the tagging system, though, is like I said before, you just have controversial in the title, but that's not the actual content, though. A lot of times, too.
Don't tag it controversial. They search for specific tags as well. If you're making a video about the Las Vegas tragedy and you mark it Las Vegas, what do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen?
Right.
The fact of the matter is, people have been operating with this free reign of YouTube for so many years. YouTube actually starts to tighten it a little bit, and all of a sudden people get a little uncomfortable. People, I'm being held down. I'm being set back. They don't like me, blah, 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 wham, 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 bitch, 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 bitch. A lot of entitled users on YouTube all of a sudden a little pissed off because they can't do all the things they used to.
Well, also, I think it is, too, it's a lot of people there's not like a lot of fairness, like I said before. I think other people are getting demonetized while others don't, and they're both not companies. You know, I've heard that before where it could be YouTube it's like a political thing, you know?
Oh, yeah. Keep running down that, let's see, what was that term again? Conspiracy theory. The algorithm's not perfect. Algorithm sure as hell is not perfect. But you know what? Eventually everyone gets tapped. And you know what? This is going to become a regular thing. It's going to become a regular issue no matter which way you go, no matter what level that you operate at on YouTube. Except, of course, the corporate level, which is the level of which, guess what? Your corporations are paying for advertising, which is within their rights to do so.
Yeah, and you could have the right, but you don't have the right. There's a difference.
Bitch, 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 bitch. Whine,
hey,
whine.
You're the one that's doing a lot of whining a lot of times.
No, that's me telling you the way it is.
Can you pause the video?
Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's enough for one night. Almost 2 hours worth of content. We're only supposed to go 40 minutes.
Right.
Oh, again, I want to thank Ian here. Everybody check out the TNT podcast. Is it just TNT podcast on YouTube or?
It's a talk news and trivia show.
There you go. Search them up on the YouTubes, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week. Of course, I'm AphroditesCrush. That is speechless, apparently. Until next time. I said that is, and I heard nothing.
Oh, what did you want me to say? All right. My show is the Talk News and Trivia Show, and I'm on YouTube. Check us out. Doug's on there we do it every Friday, about 9 o'clock usually.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thank everybody for watching here. We'll see you next week. Goodbye. And
Peace
good night.
out.